Actually, he's going. So he's going. Yeah, no, he's going westbound now. Westbound on Holt. So westbound turn on to Holt. Again, the original want here was a reckless driver. Pomona police attempting to pull over a reckless driver earlier this evening. That driver refusing to pull over, and oftentimes when we hear about a reckless driver, we usually think about a really aggressive driver. In this case, the reckless driving that we've seen so far, and we can't speak for what happened earlier in the pursuit, but at least from our vantage point, the reckless nature of his driving has really consisted of weaving over double yellow lines, weaving across lanes for no apparent reason, and running stoplights and stop signs. So very peculiar behavior, unclear whether the suspect may possibly be intoxicated or is struggling from some other emotional issues. In any event, continuing to circle this neighborhood here south of the 10 freeway. Back on San Antonio Avenue now. And once again back on Holt Avenue. Holt Avenue westbound, passing Mountain View. Very light traffic this evening here in Pomona. Plenty of opportunity, by my observation, for Pomona police to bring this to an end, but they have decided not to antagonize this suspect, not even to pull up too close behind him and try and pull him over the old-fashioned way. They're now just tracking his movements from above and following him on the ground from quite a distance. Units behind him. Only the helicopter, who's still in the neighborhood here, as they continue to follow the driver of an older model Ford SUV driving aimlessly through the streets of Pomona. Really, what can only be considered a joyride at this point. But still a serious situation, especially if those reports are true that he may possibly be armed. That's certainly, well, that'll certainly keep law enforcement on him. They will not necessarily just let him get away, although they have that option. They could decide to do that if they know where he lives, if they have enough information on him. They could just follow from above, and that almost appears to be what they're doing at this point. They have pulled back almost entirely at the street level and are really only calling this pursuit out from above. So actually maybe a few more units possibly. Can you tell, Kyle, are those unmarked units right behind them there, or are they re-engaged? Doesn't look like it. Looks like pedestrian traffic there, some civilian traffic. Now that suspect making another turn, this time off of Holt Avenue onto Indian Hill Boulevard. Still doing about 25, 30 miles per hour. right through that red light there. Once again, we're back on Indian Hill Boulevard. The suspect continuing to run from the cops here. Well, at least that helicopter. He's not pulling over, not showing any even signs of coming to a stop here. But one thing we've noticed, as we mentioned earlier, that the ground units, the Pomona police behind him at one point, have pulled back almost entirely and left this driver to his own devices as that helicopter tracks his movements through the streets of Pomona. Again, doing wide circles around these neighborhoods south of the 10 freeway, making another turn now onto San Jose Avenue. Again, a slow speed, what started as a slow speed pursuit earlier this evening, back into surveillance mode, but still frustrating for all involved none the least, and still very distressing for the family members who are apparently in communication with law enforcement. So we're continuing to follow him as he makes his way through here at almost a snail's pace, really only doing between 20 and 30 miles per hour. A heavily tinted SUV, refusing to pull over for police, and still refusing to bring this to an end. He refused to pull over when they tried to pull him over earlier, and despite the fact that he has had law enforcement on his tail for much of the time, and now in the last several minutes, really only that helicopter tracking him from above, he's just continuing the same behavior. He really hasn't changed his driving behavior all that much. Slow speeds, disobeying red lights, still running stop signs, and just continuing the joyride. Unclear, again, what his goal is or what his mental state is. In fact, there's a lot of unanswered questions, obviously, but we're going to continue to follow him here. He's no, he's... which way are you pointing, buddy? Excuse us as while we navigate around some of the air traffic up here. You can see that SUV now continuing down Mills Avenue at a very slow pace here, down to 20 miles per hour. Nobody really behind him here, and I think that's going to do it for our coverage from up here in Air 7 HD. It's a situation that we are going to continue to monitor, and if it comes to a resolution, we will, of course, bring you the latest details and developments coming up tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.